Welcome back to Circling Seattle Sports. We've got our full panel once again here with Matt and Bel and myself. We've got the Storm draft here. It's a little bit different than our Seahawks draft where we had a ton of different players. And as I kind of mentioned last with the Seahawks draft, it's a very different position that the Storm are in compared to the Seahawks. Sue Bird's gone. Breanna Stewart is
Mhm.
gone. Seattle brought, I believe, 3 players on contract into the next year after last year with Lloyd and Magbagor and Mercedes Russell.
That was it.
Training camp began on Sunday, which was yesterday, and it's a bunch of fresh new faces, a bunch of minutes to be filled. So, um, it was an interesting draft. I like 3 of these picks out of the 4. One of them I'm a little
There was
iffy.
one you didn't like?
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. But firstly, we'll start with Jordan Horston, and I want you guys to talk about Jordan Horston because you guys actually saw Jordan Horston
We
at the Seattle
did.
Regional here at Climate Pledge Arena. I believe it was, they took on the Hokies, Virginia
We
Tech.
did.
Um,
Yeah.
you guys were there. I want you guys to talk about it because you saw it first. But I know that when this happened, it was very much like, hey, Seattle wasn't supposed to get Horston. She was supposed to go higher. So why don't you guys take a look here into Jordan Horston and that pick by Seattle?
So I was excited by the pick. Again, we got to see Horston here in Seattle for the Seattle Regional. In what started kind of slow, I'm going to be honest. I was also kind of surprised when during the draft when they announced Jordan Horston was a guard because in the position that she was playing during that Seattle regional game, she looked so much more like a forward to me. So once I learned she was a guard, I was kind of taken back. But she did great in the second half, really kind of put the team on her back and was able to get into a rhythm. I'm looking forward to seeing her more in that guard role because I just think that taking her out of that for that Seattle regional game might have messed up her rhythm. And that's maybe why it took her a half to kind of warm up. I don't know. What did you see? Do you agree
Uh,
or disagree?
I really do believe she's a versatile guard.
Sure.
Seeing her play against the Virginia Tech, she was able to against the Hokies.
Yeah,
She was able to get a good amount of assists, but she also rebounds the ball.
she does.
So she's really a two-way guard. She can play the defense and she can play the offense. It's exciting to see her paired up. I don't remember the team member that was also a high-scoring team member. It's good to see her paired up with another. Uh, Elite athlete on her team because she really does shine.
And you're referring to Jewel Lloyd, or
Well, it's exciting to see her come and play with Jewel Lloyd, but
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't remember the name of the lady from
Yeah, they were
Tennessee.
supposed to
It
be
was
a
a
dynamic
duo.
duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember her name either, unfortunately. But yes, I mean, I love the pick. We of course we needed to address that guard position with, like you mentioned, Sue Bird retiring, and then Brianne January also retiring. So a lot of holes to fill, but like you mentioned, having a versatile player that he can feed off of Joel Lloyd's energy and dish to Joel Lloyd to also give her good touches. I like it. I like the pick for sure.
And seeing that Mercedes Russell or Mercedes Russell's,
Mercedes.
yeah, she's from Tennessee as well. So that alumni,
Oh,
she's going to
there
be
you
able
go.
to kind of help her out when she gets into the league.
So was it Rakia Jackson or Jordan Walker? Are either of those names poking out?
Jackson, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Because looking at that game, that Seattle Regional, Rakia Jackson had 15, Jordan Walker had 12, but Jackson shot a good amount of more. Had
Mm.
more of a overall game as well. Yeah, no. You talk about combo. I mean, one of the things, and maybe you can play off of this, that I read with Horston was that she's very athletic. I mean, it's hard to look at any player and say and compare them to like how long Breanna Stewart was. That's a lot of length. Um, but
Yeah.
Horson, a good facilitator is what I was told
Yes.
with this pick, and that's I think you both mentioned it there. Playing with Jewel, so you've got Jewel Lloyd to play off of. You're not making Jewel Lloyd play point guard, um, ideally necessarily because I know she can, but it's like you're looking for a true point guard,
Yeah.
or even still, maybe you have someone else there at point guard and Horston's able to facilitate from maybe the 3 spot. I think that versatility is so big, and it was exciting to hear, like Matt said, a true two-way guard. And somebody I think goes. I want to ask about your realistic starting 5 at game 1, night 1 of this year. I think she, no matter what, regardless of the other 4, which Jewel Lloyd's going to be in there, I think Horston's in there. I think she has to be.
I
This is
agree.
the Seattle team that hasn't had a rookie really do anything the last few years as they continue to load up for Sue Bird's last dance. It didn't work out, but I mean, we haven't really seen a rookie, and it was really fun to, I don't know, to see that. Obviously fun to know that you guys saw that in person. But Reed, facilitator, good defender. And I mean, looking at this, stands number 1 amongst all true guards with the double doubles. So really effective in there as well. So just exciting to hear about that. And as I talked about in the Seahawks draft about value and with Olatimi, and I mean, again, a lot of people didn't expect Horston to go this low. So it's good to get like a steal like this when you're in a rebuild, and again, you've just got to continue to load up. So I really like. I mean, it's really hard to, like with the Seahawks first round, hard to be angry with your first round pick here. I don't know if there's any. I mean, I think it'll be fun to watch at minimum. Again, I don't know who fills in, who steps in the point guard spot, anything else, but seeing Lloyd and Horston potentially guarding the perimeter, that'll be fun because Jewel Lloyd can play some damn good defense as we've seen before in the last few years. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Obviously, in basketball as a whole, like with the NFL and pass games, the perimeter is such a big deal. And you're going to need to protect the perimeter. I don't care if you're going to have Jewel Lloyd drop 40. If you can't if you can't guard somebody across the way who's going to do the same, it's not going to matter. Anything else on Horston?
Yeah, we mentioned her length, and I just think that's kind of what I'm looking forward to as far as like improvement is she's already so versatile that maybe she could add to her defense because she's already so lengthy that you play people at the 3, you play those teams at the 3. We're going to need to do that with the first game against the Aces. And she can really just add to that versatility. So it's exciting to see where she can grow. She doesn't necessarily have to do too much on the rebounds with the Storm, considering that McBagor is back. But it'll be exciting just for Ezzy to even have some help on the boards.
What I also think is really unique about her too is she's able to penetrate the rim,
Yep.
but also able to dish it out with her ability to
She is.
assist. So
Yep.
she's gonna be opening up Jewel Lloyd quite a bit, and just people on the perimeter, down low at the block. So it's exciting to see what she can bring to the Storm.
Truly a steal for sure.
Yeah. I mean, being able to dish it out, it's going to be so big. And, you've got some playmakers. It's just so fun to have that because obviously with Sue Bird, even in her last years, she was still able to pass the ball. That wasn't a question,
Right.
But it's like now you've got this roster. I know when Kia Nurse was signed, the Seattle Times called her a point guard, but she's not a point guard. That's not what she's done. Jade Melbourne's in here, which I'm excited about. Jade Melbourne. She's not technically part of this year's draft class, but she's only coming to the Storm this year after they drafted her last year. And they said, play another year in Australia, keep developing, then come over here. And also because they didn't have the roster space. But you could add Melbourne into that. I think she gets some playing time, and I'll talk about that when we get to talking about the starting 5. But Arella Garantes is also an interesting pick. She's more of a scorer from what I understand. They did sign Ivana Dojkic Dojkic, pardon me. She's a European point guard. So I don't know who's going to play the point guard is my point being, but I know that Jordan Horston, maybe that's the thing. Maybe Noel Quinn says, hey, I don't have to put her in just one spot, right? I'm going to put this down here again, but maybe you see her bounce around playing the 1, playing the 3. I know Jewel Lloyd hasn't necessarily just stuck at the 2 all the time. I know that when Sue Bird's been hurt, she's had to play the 1. So I don't know. It's just also what makes her so exciting with Horston is that length, that ability. She's not sort of limited like I don't want to. It's we'll get to Lovell in a minute when we get to Pick 4.
Is that the fourth that you
Yeah, yeah, we're jumping here. We're jumping, but we'll get to it. It's exciting though. You've got length. You've got, like Matt was saying, the ability to drive to the rim, but also to
fish out?
facilitate.
Yeah.
So I think she's a lot of fun. And like Belle said, it's a steal. And rebuilding going into this year probably won't make the playoffs and all that.
It's gonna be a tough year.
With the Liberty and the Aces, you're not making the finals, I bet, unless there's some gigantic upset. You need pieces to build off of, and there are, at the end of the day too, you need other names that are going to fill seats, and I think Horston's going to be a lot of fun to watch
Mhm.
and be a highlight of the season easily. So we move over here, and some of these names were interesting. I got to admit to you, I don't follow a lot of college basketball in general. I just know my Huskies are not good anymore. It is not the days of Kelsey Plum. They have been getting better.
Our
They
Huskies.
beat Stanford last year. Ella Ladine was really great. That's a different. We're not talking about college right now. Maddie Williams is interesting. She was the second pick overall for the Storm, the first pick in the second round, 6 overall in the second round, out of Oklahoma. Very interesting here. Really from the forward spot, I believe mainly a 3. Could some questions on defense, which I know we just talked about guarding the perimeter, so that's fun. But really could score the ball really well. She did take the extra COVID year at Oklahoma this last year, and while her scoring and rebounding did drop, her shooting percentage went up. So, kind of interesting there. I mean, still was able to. I mean, you see the 2022 honors there. Still was able to make an impact with the Sooners. But interesting. Again, big score, can do that, but some questions there, which kind of limits maybe how much playing time she gets. Any thoughts on that, and where that might fill into a roster, or any just general thoughts on Maddie Williams out of Oklahoma?
Yeah, you mentioned the defense. So, I mean, of course, that could always improve, but she did join elite company, I would say, in 2022, 2023, as one of 2 players to post 24.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 4.2 assists per 40 minutes played. So, yeah, that's a big name being behind Caitlin Clark and being able to kind of imitate what she does. But I mean, you mentioned versatility and 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. That's also pretty versatile.
Yeah.
As
Yep.
a 3. Yeah. So I think, yeah, just clean it up on defense and you could bring some real contribution to the team.
I think it was a pick that we got from the New York Liberty. So it's
Oh.
pretty exciting to see that we got Maddie there in the second round, and seeing that she's a forward that can bring a good presence. Seeing that she has some pretty good accolades too within the college industry, or within the college
Career, yeah.
Yeah. So it's exciting to know that she can average the points and get the rebounds that we need.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, we have some holes to fill, and I think anyone, if she could bring those 15 points a game to our team, then I'd consider it a good pick.
Yeah, I like that you played on the versatility there, and mentioned that. I mean, the rebound game, Seattle did have problems rebounding last year, and it wasn't necessarily. I think it was more when Tina Charles came in, and Tina Charles, helps open up the offense more to an extent, having her be able to shoot the 3, but in so many ways. And I mentioned it last year in the last offseason to a lot. I wanted Tina Charles. I did. And I was glad when it finally happened, but I didn't foresee Ezzy Magbagor having the year that she was going to have. I didn't. And I feel like, and I think it's just, unless somebody disagrees, which I don't know how you could, it derailed Ezzy's upward climb. I think it did, because then you take her out of the starting lineup. She gets a lot less minutes.
And that's
right?
not taking anything away from the player that Tina Charles is.
No, it just is like
her development.
It's the J. Cole song. How can we'll take away the legends part necessarily, but they couldn't coexist, right? How can they they're very good at their positions both. I'm not saying they're the same player. They're not, same legacy wise, but they were both they're both capabilities there, but they just you couldn't play them both, right? I'm not playing. Maybe you could play Charles at the 4.
I mean, they tried, but not for very long. They weren't on the
No.
court for very long together. So
Point being, it didn't work out, right?
Mhm.
To have them both there like that. So very interesting to have that. So Seattle does need that rebounding. You're going to need it from all over the court. Versatility is good. Having that, the scoring is big. Maddie Williams was ranked as second at the small forward position by ESPN, so that's good. That's
That
pretty
is good.
good. Yeah, just very interesting to see why her numbers went down in that last year at Oklahoma, but still, like Matt said, having the last year of her career, all those accolades, which again, very interesting to see numbers go down, but awards still come in. And then defense. I mean, I feel like, effort can help defense. I mean, look at Pat Bev. I'm not saying the guy's a lockdown guy, but his effort's good. Well, I don't watch too much Marcus Smart. And
I'm
he's
gonna
not.
go to the storm practice, and I'm gonna have to tell Williams that you might have made a
No,
perfectly comparison.
no, no, no. Have this woman's credential revoked right now. God. Oh, I don't need to be. They'll be like, all right, Charles, you come out here on the court, and my ankle's gone. My ankle's gone. It's
Oh,
funny. When I
geez.
used to play basketball, we were young, and I was one of the taller guys. So they had me play the 4, and I was like, why the hell? And I'm playing the 4. And you know what I always tried to improve upon was rebounding. So, terrible, terrible. Funny talking about. I mean, before I get to Dulcie, anything to wrap up with Maddie Williams?
I mean, it's definitely good to point out that she was above 50% from the field goal. I mean, we're looking at pure shooters. Horston was also 73% from the field goal on the free throw line. So we're looking at some good shooters coming in.
And that's what we need. I mean, we need people that can contribute and help Jewel. Obviously, we're all human. Jewel Lloyd even has her off days, so someone that can pick up on the scoring when that happens, for sure, a bonus.
Yeah, I like good to mention that again. See, this is why it's great to have the full panel here, because I can bounce these things. How many times last year with the Storm did we see, one player, whether it was Stewie or Jewel or maybe those two, have these great nights, and then you look down at the rest, like whether it was up on the Twins, like Clement Pledge Arena, or on the the box score, just duds for shooting, low production. It was just Stewie or Jewel Lloyd scoring the basketball, and everybody else, they try, and it's just brickety brick. Nobody, or not even taking shots. It's like,
Yeah.
obviously Stewie, when healthy, arguably the best player in the world. We can sit there and let her and Asia Wilson just have them play alone.
Battle it out.
Yeah, just put them isolated on a planet and let them battle. But far too often it was like one or two players contributing, and then the rest of it. So
Yeah.
I like that you bring that up, because it's like, I don't need you to go out and drop a ton each game, but it's like knowing that they can shoot, that the percentages are good. It's not God, it goes to it again, where it's like a streaky shooter. Sometimes it's good to have a streaky shooter, but I like consistency.
Yeah.
How often do you hear that word when I talk about any team? Consistency. Talk about the Mariners and their hitting. It's not
It's
consistent.
huge. No.
See? So that's like, if we looked at like what's most used emojis, if we looked at most used words, consistency would probably be up there. But I like that you mentioned that. Anyway, we go to rebounding. Seattle's second pick in the second round, pick number 9. Sit here with me. We talked about it in the Seahawks pick with Olusegun Oluwatimi out of the University of Southern Florida. Oh, don't worry, we got the pronunciation guide. Dulcie Fancom Mengiadu. Say it with me. Dulcie Fancom, like FAN come COME, Mengiadu. That last name really messed me up when the draft happened. Mengiadu. So I know not to mess it up when we ask her questions. Very interesting here. There was criticism with this pick a little bit, because you've already got Ezzy Magbagor right? Because you can see on the slide there, she's listed as a 4/5. She's only listed as a 6'4" center. She was a double machine in college, very efficient at the rim, nearly 70% throughout the course of the season. One of the best rebounders in all of the NCAA. Her senior year was really great. Last few years, very good. I know she transferred from Memphis and really kind of showed out with South Florida, but kind of smaller for a center. Despite that, we look at ACC All Conference second team, played in all of those 33 games. Did help out her native country Cameroon there in the semifinals of the 2021 FIBA AfroBasket, which is fun. But what was interesting to me was the rebounding numbers, double machine, despite being listed as a smaller center. It is going to be interesting. You've got Ezzy and Mercedes on this team, so I don't think you can just have her as a 5. Maybe you slot her in as a 4. She was able, but then you're very you're not stretching it out as much. I mean, that's fine though. I mean, if you want to go 2 down, then I don't know. I'm interested. Again, that was a criticism. It's like Seattle's already got Ezzy and Mercedes Russell, but I'm not mad at it. I mean, she was able to, again, still produce double machine. Very, very good rebounder. And we just talked about rebounding with Maddie Williams and needing that. So I don't know. What Dulcie Fancom Mengiadu? What do we think?
I mean, again, I think I'm gonna use this word one more time. Versatility. She posted 24 doubles. So, like you said, a double machine. I think back on like the beginning of the year and as the year went on for the Storm, and wondering when Mercedes Russell was, or yes, sorry, when she was going to come back after that at first unknown injury turned into like a non-basketball injury, turned into, I don't even remember what it was by the end of the year, but I just remember wondering when she would see the court. So you definitely want to have a backup in case you run into that situation again, is where my head goes.
I definitely like her. Seeing somebody that can score and rebound is always exciting to me. She's 6'4". Her footwork is great. I was watching some highlights of her and seeing how she can work it in the basket. So she's taking high percentage shots a lot of the time, seeing that she's 51% from the field goal. So it's just, to me, I think she's going to be able to really kind of evolve with the team as they're going to really start this push.
Now, do you see her on the court with Ezzy or as like a backup to Ezzy and Mercedes?
I do see her on the court with Ezzy.
Okay.
Mercedes is I think a truer center. She's bigger, but I really do believe at the 4 or 5, Dulcie can produce. So whether she's paired up with Ezzy or with Lewis, I really do think that Ezzy is going to have dominating minutes as far as between those 3. But it's going to be kind of a toss up between who gets more minutes between Mercedes and Dulcie.
Yeah. I like that you mentioned that. I talked about this. Who do I talk about this with? I talk about this with Rashad Penny, and like Dwayne Eskridge, right? If you're not on the field or the court, or if you're not playing, I'm less inclined to want you around and want you back. And hey, maybe Dulcie comes in and kicks the door down. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how Mercedes comes back this year. And I know I was kind of like, I don't know if they do that, but I think it would be, considering, the struggles that they had rebounding, why not run her at the 4 with Ezzy, right? And like Matt said, with being able to score the basketball in the paint, that was something I loved to look at last year. Was we'd get the box score, I'd look at points in the paint, and Seattle didn't always do great there. So you've got somebody that can do great at the rim. Again, these are we talk about areas of need. Those are areas of need: rebounding the basketball and points in the paint. We talked about perimeter a lot, but that's still very much a factor. We had some teams that grinded Seattle inside. You look at when the Sun had Breanna Jones and
Isn't that crazy to say?
Yeah,
Sorry.
God. Oh shoot, I forgot her name. Oh, Breanna Jones and John Quell Jones, the Joneses. There we go. I remember that. I remember I watched them play against Seattle in Everett up at Angel of the Winds. God forbid. Oh, I hated that because our tickets were near where the buzzer went, and so I just heard the
Oh,
buzzer whenever that happened. Breanna Jones and John Cole Jones. You got bullied inside. I was like, you didn't have anybody, especially after you had Natasha Howard go to New York. A lot of the times when Seattle would play the big name centers, or the big name. This is always embarrassing. 4 and 5 is front court. Yes.
mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I always it's like some things
Right?
in life I like skipped and missed out on learning. Front court, back court are what I always forgot.
Oh, I have them swapped then. Do I have them swapped?
See, I did that too. Okay, embarrassing, but so back
Oh
court.
my god, but in my head it just makes more sense though the other way.
So wait, what's the correct thing?
So backcourt
Let's look
is
it up
our
just a minute.
centers, our 4s and our 5s.
Yeah, backcourt is 4s and 5.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, whenever Seattle would play one of those top tier backcourts, like it used to be Connecticut, they get dominated. They would get dominated inside, right? She didn't play last year, obviously, because of things didn't happen. But you got Brittany Griner back, and that's gonna Seattle. I remember that same season they played Connecticut and they were in Everett when the Sun eliminated the Storm and the Sioux chance came in that would create that opportunity to bring her back. Brittany went off. Seattle had no answer. And so you've got to be able to, like, getting those guards is great. Getting the perimeter is great. I want to be able to protect the rim. I really do. And, as he continues to get better there, she played some gritty defense. She improved as a whole last year, right?
Yeah,
she goes off the court. Who's
Now what?
Yeah. You get my point, right? So I know the criticism was there with her size. I don't care. She produced double machine. Matt talked about the footwork. I think it's solid. I think that's a great opportunity there. There's some key traits. I mean, she was listed as the 5th positional ranking by ESPN, but a grade of 87, which pretty solid. So I'm okay with it. I think Dulcie's going to be pretty. I'm fine. I don't care about the criticism of having 2 centers. I think they'll slot her into 4. Why not? Who else are you going to put there? I mean, if we look here, I mean, Kaya Charles is a guard / forward, so probably not her. Maddie Williams is a guard / forward, so probably not her. I mean, there's not a lot of forward. Jasmine Walker, maybe, but she's 6'2". I mean, so Dulcie gives you more size there. Teresa Plicence is listed as a forward, so maybe her. She's 6'5". So I mean, maybe Plicence.
Oh, wait, right, yeah.
Hold on. The pronunciation guide is Plaisance. Teresa Plaisance. My apologies. I believe she's from Louisiana. Yeah, she went to LSU. There you go. Plaisance. Little French. I'm not French. Only Thai France.
Only Thai France.
So I don't know. That she was a fun pick, not only to say her name, but also to see is like the criticism I keep talking about is from The Athletic. The Athletic was like, she's too small to play center. You have Izzy Magbagor and Mercedes Russell. Why did you make this pick? And I'm like, calm down, dude. Yeah, I'm like, hey man, play her at the 4. She's listed as a 4 on ESPN anyway. Maybe we got the wrong ESPN. I don't know. Anyway, so that's Dulcie. Anything to wrap up on besides making sure we remember how to say her name?
No, I love how you guys are calling her by her first name because it's easier.
Dulcie Bankum Mengiadu.
I will go off on a tangent though because you did mention LSU. And they just got Haley Van Lith.
Haley Van Lith. Sad.
Yeah, from Kashmir, Washington. So, women's basketball is looking a little like the WNBA this offseason.
God, yeah, I would have loved for her to. Wrong purple and gold.
I know.
Wrong one. Maybe she got confused. Anyway, we go over to the 4th pick of the draft in the final pick, only 4 picks, which isn't necessarily. It's not like the Seahawks draft in 2021 where they only had 3 guys. Jade Lovell. Jade Lovell's interesting. I mean,
Bum,
she
bum,
went
bum.
to Skyline High School. She did bounce around in college a little bit. Boise State, Arizona State, Arizona. Streaky shooter, and she's strictly a point guard. So it's like that becomes a problem. Made 36.1% on a career high, 119 attempts with 200 in 219 attempts. She was all Pac-12 team in 2022 with Arizona State. She made the all Mountain West team with Boise State. So very interesting to sort of see that. I mean, can really score the basketball, big point production, but a streaky shooter. That was sort of the issue that I had with Lovell. We kind of talked about it. 3rd round here, though, pick number 9. So it's kind of the end of the draft. Kind of bounced around, though, 3 seasons at Boise State, 1 at Arizona State, 1 at Arizona to wrap up her career there. So it's interesting. I mean, she did improve her 3-point shooting once she got to the Pac-12. There it was, 36.1% on a career high, 119 attempts with the Wildcats of Arizona last season. But streaky shooter, and looking at the game logs toward the end of her career, end of her collegiate career, kind of struggled shooting percentage wise throughout the year. And so that's where I go with the streaky shooter sort of thing. And Bell said it throughout this is versatility. Lovell doesn't give you that. It's a strict point guard. So we look, though, at the Storm training camp roster at the guards, and I mean, we could look at all the guards. I mean, Sammy Whitcomb, go Sammy. I love having Sammy back. But and they have Lova listed as a guard/forward on here, which I don't know about that.
We thought she
I
wasn't versatile.
I don't think that's right.
High five on Evan.
Whitcomb, Lovell, Lloyd, Horston. Listen to the guards, right? Yvonne Turner, Dojkic, Garantes, Maddie Williams, Melbourne, Charles, and Nurse.
I
This
mean,
is an
I think
uphill battle.
and I think the saddest part about this is that we know that they're not all gonna make the roster. We've gone over this before with the WNBA just not having the ability to sign as many women as deserve.
Not the
But
same roster sizes and such.
yeah.
Will Rod make the roster?
Ouch. Hi, Rod. I'm like trying to find an argument here, but yeah, that's a stacked position already. You really got to come out and prove yourself. Yeah. I mean, I understand why you said what you said and why that last pick might be kind of iffy in your eyes, but yeah, maybe they're just I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to fill here.
With the team doing a whole revamp, I really do feel like it's all up in the air for the guards. I mean, we know Horston's for sure
Yes,
gonna
we
be
do.
in there, but I feel like these ladies are gonna battle. They're gonna battle for.
I mean, I hope
for a roster
so.
spot, and I really do think Maddie's gonna be there too. It's just hopefully I'm hopeful for Jade.
Yes.
Yeah,
You always
and I
want a
mean,
success story.
don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm a local guy, so I love hearing about the locals and such. I mean, Skyline High School is not too familiar to me, but it's just tough to me, right? Especially when we get into wanting to project a starting 5. I just it's hard to look at the point again. So I read out all of the players who have guard also listed so it's guard/forward. If we look at strictly guard, it's Sammy Whitcomb, Jewel Lloyd, Yvonne Turner, Arella Garantes, Jade Melbourne, and Kia Nurse. Now, of those playing point guard, it's likely of the guard/forwards, even if we include everybody, of those likely to play the point guard position, most likely it's Melbourne, Dojkic, maybe Turner, maybe Horston, and then you throw Lovell in there. So that's already 5 potential point guards, and God knows they're not keeping 5 point guards, and I probably wouldn't if God knows the NBA teams don't keep 5 point guards. So, I don't know. I just think, and I know they have her listed as a guard slash forward, but I just don't think it's tough. And I admire Bell for trying to find an argument for it, but I think it's tough. I mean, you do need to fill that point guard spot. And like Matt said, though, this camp is probably going to be a bloodbath. You've got all of this, all these minutes to play for, right? Because Jewel Lloyd and Ezzy Magbagor will fight, will have essentially guaranteed minutes. Jordan Horston probably will too. Who else plays there? Sammy Whitcomb probably comes off the bench in a standard role like she did last year. And she ideally plays strictly like a 2/3. So, and I don't think she starts over Lloyd or Horston likely. So again, probably a 6 role. Yeah. It's a battle. It's gonna be a battle, this camp is. Those preseason games, I think the first one is on May 9th, and then they have that closed door practice scrimmage thing with Phoenix. Down in Phoenix. So it's like you've got training camp and those games to make your mark. And like Bell said, though, it's not like the NBA where I believe it's 15 spots on an NBA roster. I could be wrong. I think in the NBA they've raised it to 13. So there's still 2 players on each team times the amount of teams in the WNBA that are not making it. And even if, say, Lovell does come out and she lights it the hell up and she goes out and she scored 34 and 33 like several times in her last few years. Say she does that. I mean, Kiana Williams played well, and she wasn't able to stick around here, So I don't know. She did bounce around for a few other teams. Is she on a roster? Let's find out. Oh, she plays for the Lynx. Good for her. Kiana was a fun interview. She was nice. I don't know. It's very tough. It's very tough. I talked about it today on the CSS on Converge episode. I love an underdog, right? And she's going to be an underdog, but it's just tough for me considering the point guards that are on this roster, as well as the fact that I know it says she's listed as a guard slash forward. I don't see her playing as a forward though. I just don't. Maybe you put her out on the wing and just have her sit on the perimeter. She's not driving to the rim though. And I don't know about her defensive side of the ball. So if she is a 3-and-D, sure, but I haven't seen anything that says anything about her defense. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Any wrap ups on Lovell?
No, I mean, like you said, you love an underdog.
Bell did the gritted teeth emoji right there.
It's gonna be tough for her, but I mean, you go out and you give it all you got, and the chips fall where they may.
Yes.
What kind of chips? Lay's? Bag of air.
Ruffles.
Yes. There you go. Okay, so before we get to pick your starting 5, it's like a fun little game. Like we did with the Seahawks, we're gonna do letters again. Better at letters than I am numbers. Draft review. What do we think about this Storm roster? Not roster. These 4 picks for the Storm, taking into consideration, again, this is a rebuilding team. They've got a blank slate, effectively. What do we think? Letter grade. Let you guys go first before I put on my letters.
I'm gonna stick to my letter. I'm gonna go with a B. I like that Horston was a steal. I like that they added some offense. And I mean the rebounding as well with some of those players that can contribute the double doubles. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with a B. I might even that Horston pick really makes me go with a B. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that.
Wait, as opposed to going lower or higher?
As opposed to going lower.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what my gut's saying. So I'm gonna go with a B.
Yeah, definitely looking at the shooting guards that I taken. I really wanted Lou Lopez.
Jordan you did like her. You did.
Really good though. So you can't go wrong with either of them. They both perform really well. as far as the second pick goes, yeah, I'm really glad that they went for a post position because we needed some help down there. So I would say probably for only 4 picks, it'd be like a B, just a solid B.
Okay.
Wow. So I know we're in the basketball world right now, and I don't want to compare us to LeVar Ball, but I'm gonna go with the B too. So we've got the triple B's going on
B, B,
here. I
B.
do not want. I forgot what they call. What were the shoes called? Big Baller
Big
brand.
ball.
I don't
What
know,
were the-
but bees made me think of the bees who just
Oh, the ZO2.
lost.
You guys want to buy me some ZO2s?
No.
Well, it was a hype for a while.
I think I saw some in person at a gym once. I was like, "Are you really about to play at those?" As I put on my Kyrie twos. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with a B.
What's wrong
I
with
mean,
Kyrie twos?
huh?
What's wrong with Kyrie twos?
Oh, nothing. I was just laughing at the ZO2s. I was like, make sure your feet don't go through those when you drive to the rim. But I love the Kyries. The first few Kyries were great. I had a bunch of colorways on those. I would wear the black ones as normal shoes. Those were fun.
All right, well, let's get your hot take on the best WNBA shoe.
Oh God, that's for a different time. We'll have to do a different show for that. Don't derail me. I have to make a grade. I'm gonna stick with a B because Horston. Obviously, if we're going by pick and how the letter would fluctuate, Horston, great. That would have been an A if it was just for Horston alone. Maddie Williams brings it down a little bit. I like that she's a versatile scorer and can rebound, pesky rebounder, but the defensive questions and the weird statistical drop is kind of like, it's this emoji. I love using that emoji. Dulcie Fankum Mengiadu. I almost said Odu. Yeah. Is fun. And I was a little more skeptical when I first read she's short for a center, and it was all like nightmare. I was like, calm down. Don't be so negative. But looking into it and seeing the numbers production and the idea of playing her at the 4 has me a little higher. So, I mean, the only thing I guess that would bring that pick down to help keep it at a B is what's the plan with her? Can she play the 4? And I guess the size limitation. And then Lovell, I said it throughout the episode before we even got to her. It's tough. It's gonna be tough because maybe it's because I've grown up with teams like the Mariners. Look at Sam Haggerty and Dylan Moore. Those guys can play anywhere. They're versatile. Cooper Hummel is listed as a catcher/outfielder. It's versatile. The Seahawks, we talked about Julian Love being a versatile guy, guys that can play all over the board. You see what I'm saying? Versatility is becoming a big thing in today's every sport. And certain specialists like corner specialist, 3-point specialist, it just becomes very hard for you to have a roster spot unless you're very good at that. And again, unless Lovile comes out here and is just bombing points from all over the field goal range, it's tough. And that pick kind of really, because of the lack of versatility there, brings me down to a B. There are some cons on both Williams and Fanka Mengiadu, pardon me, but more positives. Loville, it's like I can see where the possibilities of you making the roster, there are less of them than the likelihood that you end up not on the roster. So that's how I got there. I just, all in all, though, I mean, you've got likely 3 of them that stay on the roster. I think that's solid, as opposed to the last few years where none of them have, obviously, so I don't know. I talked about it on this week's episode, and I've been talking about it through the offseason, and maybe it's just me trying to cope, but I'm excited for this year just because it's going to be different in the way that these are all players that are trying to prove themselves. We look at Kia Nurse is coming off an injury. And she is a veteran, but obviously in free agency, it's not like she was a hot ticket necessarily. I don't want to mention her till we get to creating the top starting five. Maddie Williams, again, there are the questions about defense. Come out and prove it wrong. Arella Garantes is somebody who is like, WNBA Twitter goes crazy for Arella Garantes because they want her to succeed and they just think she needs a better opportunity. This is the opportunity if you're going to get one, right? Like, you've got a clean slate and there are minutes to be had. Go and fight like hell. We already talked about Fanka Mengiadu. We already love Ezzy, so no need to talk about that. Dojkic is interesting. Spent a lot of time overseas. She's actually reporting to training camp later due to overseas commitments. So there's that. Mercedes Russell, you missed all of last season, and you do you still have it, or was one of these young guns going to come out and take that spot? Prove it wrong. Yvonne Turner's been around the league for a bit, so it's like, hey, you're another veteran. Come and solidify a spot. Jordan Horston, come and make your mark. Jewel Lloyd, we know who Jewel Lloyd is. Lowville, prove me wrong, right? Prove me wrong. I thought Drew Lock was going to be the Seahawks starter. Geno Smith said, shut up, you're wrong. And I was wrong, and I shut up. Sammy Whitcomb. I love Sammy Whitcomb. Come and score points and come off the bench and just be amazing again. Jasmine Walker, I don't know too much about you. Change that. Teresa Plaisance. I'll make sure I say that right. She's coming off of winning a title with the Aces. What can you contribute in more of a role here? I'm likely more of a role because I didn't know she was on the Aces. So you see what I mean? There's just so much opportunity here for these players to come out and show what they got. And not a lot of them are locked up long-term necessarily. Jill Lloyd has 1 year in a contract. That's scary, but you get the point. It's like there's no commitments here necessarily. I like the opportunity that's building. That's why I've got excitement. I don't know. What are we thinking on the outlook of the season?
It would be just heartbreaking if Jewel Lloyd decided to leave us. But yeah, just a lot of young talent that has the ability to prove themselves. So looking forward to just seeing who steps up.
I'm hoping we stay above 500. I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs this year, but I really do think we're gonna be able to learn where we're gonna go from here.
Yeah.
Hey, I would be happy if at the end of the year we looked at this team and we looked at the record and we saw 500. That'd be a win in my book. So, thus brings us to it's like a fun little game. Create your starting five for day one. Hey, maybe you're disagreeing with me, but I think you've got Jewel at the 2 and Ezzy at the 5. On which one's night 1 again? Hold on, I'll pull it up. Don't worry.
May 20th versus the Aces.
Okay, so who is Seattle? What starting 5 is Seattle rolling out on May 20th, starting at that's noon? That's a noon tip-off against the Aces. What do we think? We'll go with since Matt's joining we haven't had Matt do a show with us like this yet. We'll do Matt first. We'll go Bel and we'll go me. So Matt, your starting 5, May 20th. Who's Seattle rolling out? Who are the first 5 on the court?
I think Horston
is
going to be at the guard position. I think Jewel Lloyd is going to be at the shooting guard position. Madi Williams at the 3. Ezzy. And I want to go with Dulcie, but I really do think Mercedes is going to get it out first, but Dulcie is going to take it away from her.
Okay.
Damn.
All right.
Hot take.
So it starts off with Horston, Lloyd, Williams, Magbagor, and Russell to start, but later on, Russell gets replaced.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bel, what do we think?
No, I'm gonna flip it to you. I'm still making my decision.
You did the Uno reverse. Okay.
Yep.
I'm changing it. I'm going. So Matt had 2 players to start that were drafted on night 1. I said she didn't count necessarily because it was last year, but so it will be 3. Hold on. I don't know. I'm not going to do the math before I say it. I'm taking Jade Melbourne at the 1 to start. I'm very excited for her as a point guard out of Australia. She had great numbers in Australia in the pro league, despite she was born in 2002. So I'll let you guys be all sad about age for a minute. I don't know how to math, so I'm not going to worry about it right now. Jade Melbourne at the 1, Jewel at the 2. That doesn't need to be argued. Put Jordan Horston at the 3. I'll put Dulcie at the 4. So that's 3 rookies I have in my starting 5. Jesus Christ. And then obviously Ezzy at the 5. I'm very excited about Jay Melbourne. I was excited about this pick last year. I was hoping that nobody else decided to sign her in the offseason. Jewel, I don't need to argue. We don't need to even talk about that. That's right. Horston, I like that ability at the 3. You've got the length there to not have to worry about the small forward position. I feel like the versatility is nice that we talked about, right? And especially being able to drive at the rim and kick out. I think it's great. So I'm happy to plug her into the 3. Maybe, as Melbourne continues to grow, because again, she's still a young player. Well, they're both young player. So you've got some fun there. You can poke around, but I'm going to stick with that. I'm not going to change. I don't know if it's just hearing you guys talk about it, but I fell in love with the idea of having Dulcie at the 4. Fell in love with it. Let's do it. Let's rock with it. Need some rebounding there, but also need some point production in the paint. Point production in the paint. PPPG. Love it. And then Ezzy, just give Ezzy the 5 and let her run with it. Don't do anything else.
Ezzy cook.
Yeah. So yeah, Melbourne, Lloyd, Horston, Fanka Mengiadu, and Magbagor. That's what I'm going with. I'm not changing my pick. I'm not changing my pick. Now, Bel, it's come down to you.
I'm gonna go Horston, Lloyd. I'm gonna throw in Plaisance. Did I say it right?
Plaisance.
Plaisance. I'm gonna throw in Plaisance in there. And then I'm gonna double down on your guys' other picks with Dulce and Ezzy.
Interesting. So, okay. So we all kind of seem confident, despite the fact that, again, the Athletic hates this pick. Why did they pick another? We all seem confident that Dulce is going to come out and produce in green and gold. So,
I think my biggest thing is that Russell didn't play last year and a lot, and so I never really got to see her in her full
potential.
Yeah, and I mean, even still, even if she doesn't crack the starting 5, you still need somebody to come off the bench. Excuse me, at the 5, right? Again, we talked about it when we talked about Ezzy going out. You still need. Excuse me again. I got hiccups now. You still need someone there. So I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. So, interesting. We'll have to look at that, and then on May 19th, we'll have to see if any of those players have somehow not made the roster. God forbid. 2, when they post the opening graphic. Ooh, and we've got graphics for that this year. We did not last year, and I was sad about it. We'll have to see how that lines up. So, anything to wrap up on our Storm draft here, friends, and having our full panel?
I liked seeing Horston in that orange, that Tennessee orange, but I'm really looking forward to seeing her in Climate Pledge in that green and yellow.
I mean, did you see her on draft night? You seen her outfit?
I did. She was
very swaggy. I'm excited for her for that swag to Seattle. That's what we're known for. Sue Bird had a good swag to her. Even Breanna Stewart before she left, and I don't know about anymore.
That's a shot.
All of them, they all got a swag to them. I'm so excited to see another young one come in.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to the fit picks when the team comes in. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Lots of shoe picks. I love those.
Oh, the shoes. Yeah, we'll have to look at the WNBA signature shoes. But that wraps up this 2023. It'll be very interesting to see how the drafts go the next few years. I hope we don't have the number 1 overall pick. That would mean we have to really suck. The 2000, yeah, that would be bad. The 2023 WNBA draft for our Seattle Storm.
I want to just say one last thing. We're still rolling.
I almost clipped it. Yeah.
So Matt's normally behind the camera. We have a lot of fantastic people behind the camera normally. Referencing, of course, Liv and the rest of our photographers, Liz, Brian. I'm sure I'm missing some, but I'm not snubbing you, I swear. But just thank you for stepping in front of the camera for a change.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice to be able to come in, and you guys made me feel really welcome. helped me prep beforehand. So I was excited to jump on.
We're gonna yell at you off camera. You know, you didn't show enough feet. It was very, very terrible. Very angry. No, it's great to hear, Matt, because pulling back the curtain here a little bit, Matt will talk to us like it was the Storm games. Matt would talk to us about the games and how they played out and the different players. So it's we might see Matt in more reporting form soon. Ooh. Away from both cameras, both photography and videography.
Videography. Yeah.
No, it's fun to think about that, and I am actually trying to incorporate more of the folks behind the camera into what we do in the written form. So we'll see that, but that'll wrap up before I start spilling. That'll wrap up our Storm recap for this year's draft.